Every town has its ghost stories, but here in Northern Virginia, those tales also tell real history. Tonight, we're exploring the haunted tales that can also teach our scouts about the past. So, grab a flashlight, keep your buddy close, and let's dive into some spooky history. Stay tuned. If you're new to this channel, we're on a mission to inspire and inform new scouting parents and adult leaders. And since it's Halloween, what better way than to use ghost stories to teach your scouts about real history? Last year, I visited the Stafford Civil War Memorial Park, the Fredericksburg National Military Park, and the Chatham House. Those locations are rich with history and a ghost story or two, but the audio wasn't great, so we're back this year with some new locations. And stay until the end and I'll tell you about a hidden special event where you can take your kids and scouts before Halloween. Starting off, we're visiting a local haunt known as Government Island. You wouldn't think that this quiet island, hidden in the middle of a quiet creek, would have a ghost story. But imagine it's 200 years ago. The sound of chisels striking sandstone and the splash of barges loading rocks destined for other places. According to local lore, not every quarryman made it home. The work was dangerous. Some stones weighed hundreds of pounds and could shift in an instant. Some say that one worker, known only as Jacob, was crushed when a block collapsed. His body was never recovered, and some say that he was forever entombed in the sandstone walls. And here's where the story turns chilling. Hikers today sometimes claim to hear the tap 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 of a chisel echoing through the woods long after sunset. Others also say that they've spotted a lone lantern swaying in the distance, only for it to vanish when they get close. Whether you believe the story or not, the legend offers a chance to teach scouts about the incredible history of Government Island, that the very stones under our feet helped build some of the most important buildings in our nation's capital. That's right, these very stones were harvested for both the White House and the U.S. Capitol building. Today, scouts and hikers walk past without knowing the history of it, but now you and your scouts know how this quiet little island's influence reaches all the way to the nation's capital. Is it the wind through the trees, or the restless spirit of a quarryman still laboring, trying to finish the job he never completed? Who knows, but maybe that is why the curfew for Government Island is sunset. But speaking of the nation's capital, we're headed north to our next location, and while it is the world's most famous cemetery, it's not the cemetery that we are after. It's the house that sits atop it. High on a hill above the nation's capital stands Arlington House, built in the early 1800s by George Washington Parke Custis, the step-grandson of George Washington himself. This mansion was meant to be both a family home and a monument to America's first president. Decades later, it would become the home of Robert E. Lee. When the Civil War broke out, Lee left here to take command of the Confederate Army. The Union seized the estate, and to ensure Lee could never return, they began to bury soldiers in the front yard. That act transformed the grounds into Arlington National Cemetery, now the final resting place of over 400,000 American service members. But many say the past still lingers here. Guests and caretakers alike report the ghostly figure of a woman in white gliding through the hallways, or faint piano music drifting from the parlor when the house is locked and empty. Some claim they hear footsteps pacing across the floor, as if the former residents are still waiting to return home. Whether you believe in these spirits or not, Arlington House tells the story of America itself. Our revolution, our Civil War, and our ongoing journey of healing and unity. For scouts, visiting here isn't just about chasing ghost stories. It's about standing in a place where history, sacrifice, and memories are woven together. The hauntings are a reminder our past is never really gone. It still whispers to us if we are willing to listen. I just want to take a moment to say that the whole petty move of burying the bodies in the yard to prevent Lee from moving home is 100% true. I didn't know about that until I started researching for this video, but it just goes to show that you can learn a lot about history when you are researching stuff for your scouting program. Which, if you are enjoying this video, please do all that great YouTube stuff down below, and check out some of the ghost story book recommendations that I made. Also, leave a comment about your favorite ghost story. But speaking of ghosts, our final visit of the evening may just be the location of one of the most famous ghosts in America. Just down the river from Arlington stands one of the most important homes in America, Mount Vernon, the estate of George Washington. Washington lived here for decades, managing his farm, entertaining his guests, and eventually retiring after leading the Continental Army and serving as the nation's first president. But like so many historic places, Mount Vernon has ghost stories of its own. Visitors and caretakers have whispered about hearing phantom footsteps in the upper hall or catching the sound of jingling keys, said to be George Washington himself conducting his nightly rounds. Some even claim to see a shadowy figure standing in a window just before it vanishes into thin air. The mansion has also hosted important moments in American history. Leaders from around the world have visited to honor George Washington's memory, and the estate has become a symbol of unity long after his death in 1799. Even in mourning, his home helped cement his place as the father of our country. For Scouts, Mount Vernon is more than just a ghost story. It's a chance to connect with the very roots of our nation, to stand where George Washington stood and reflect on how legends, whether spirits or heroes, carry forward the values that shaped America. So, is that creek in the hallway just old wood settling? Or is it the general himself keeping watch over the home that he loved? Either way, the past still feels very much alive here. Thankfully, Mount Vernon isn't just all about serious history. It also knows how to have some fun. Every October, George Washington's estate hosts a family-friendly trick-or-treat at Mount Vernon event. Here, kids can come dressed in their favorite costumes, collect candy from stations set up around the historic grounds, and even meet actors portraying 18th century Virginians. Imagine your kids trick-or-treating where George Washington once walked. Or a kid dressed up as a minion getting candy from George Washington. Both are pretty fun. What makes this event unique is the way that it blends Halloween with history. Families can check out the gardens, visit the museum, or listen to stories about George Washington in his time, all while enjoying the excitement of the season. For Scouts, this is more than just about candy. It's a chance to experience living history in a setting that is both festive and educational. They'll get a thrill of Halloween night, but also walk around knowing a little bit more about our first president and the world that he lived in. So if you're looking for a safe, fun, and meaningful Halloween outing for your pack troop or just your normal kids, Mount Vernon's trick-or-treat event is the perfect blend of spooky and historical. Tonight, we've walked through places where history and legends meet. These ghost stories remind us that the past isn't dead. It lives on in the places we visit, the lessons we teach, and the stories we share. So this Halloween, as you light your lanterns and pass out candy, remember that every season has its spirits. Some playful, some haunting, but all reminding us of who we are and where we come from. But with that, I've been Matt with the Roaming Scouter. Happy Halloween.